What's up, guys? Welcome to week 1 of our brand new series called Storyteller. And we're going to be in this series over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a good series. And we're just going to be looking at some of the stories in the gospel, and we're just going to be kind of talking through them and some of the points that really stand out. You're going to be doing that in your small group. We look forward to that. It's going to be awesome. And today I'm joined by some of my good friends. They're some of your good friends. They're awesome people. I got Jason over here, Jason Bronner. You guys know him. He hangs out with 8th grade guys a lot. And he hangs out with other people too, but he's an 8th grade guys leader. I put that kind of weird.
8th grade guys are the best.
Like you only hang out with 8th grade guys.
9th grade boys.
9th grade boys. Depends on how you look at it, but yeah, true. And then we have Caden and Bree, who are seniors this year.
What?
That's kind of weird to say. I think that's the first time
It's really weird.
First time I've said that. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Kind of.
Kind of. I would be too. I remember
Just
that.
because
so.
of Corona.
Corona, yeah. It's like,
Everything else is fine.
what's it going to look like? True. So listen, what we're going to do today is we're just going to have fun. We're going to be looking at a story in the Gospels, a story about Jesus, and we're just going to be talking about it. We're going to be highlighting some things. We're going to be asking some questions, and you'll have time, even in your group, to talk about these questions as well. And then, like every other week, at the end, you'll have some questions we'll discuss, and we'll apply it to our real life. But the opening to our story today is going to be in Mark chapter 4, verse 35 through 41. But before we get into that, we want to ask a question has there ever been a time in your life, and we'll answer it first, has there ever been a time in your life where you've been afraid of something?
Oh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I get jump scared, so when I watch a scary movie, if I even do, the only scary movie I've really watched is like A Quiet Place, which that's just not really a scary movie at all.
I've never seen it.
But I don't do scary movies.
I'm with you. I don't do scary movies either. Like,
yeah, I just can't.
I like the suspense feeling, but then I also don't like the suspense
I'm
feeling.
one that watches it like this.
See, I'm supposed to be
cover
the
my-
man, so I secretly like do like one of those little numbers, but like I hope Heather's not looking. When Heather looks, I'm like this, but like I'm like I don't like scary movies.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
with you.
You're winning over Heather's heart like that. I swear. So I don't really get scared. You know, I'm Jason Bronner. I don't get scared of anything.
Oh.
I've been scared
Wow.
one time in my life. One time, I promise.
And it was fake.
Kinda. So, like, I was in my basement playing Wii with my buddy, and we were, like, picking teams, and, like, the screen has where you can pick either side, and all of a sudden, we weren't touching the remote, I promise, and it was like, I was like, bruh, that's not supposed to happen. And he's like, yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude, what happens if, for some reason, the lights go out? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, I'll just call for my parents for help. And they'd be like, my parents would be like, oh, it's nothing. Don't be scared. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, what if this deer head turns us and be like, it's not okay. We booked it upstairs. I was like, Mom, go get my Wii. I'm scared. She's like, go get it. I'm like, I ain't going downstairs. No way. No way.
So basically, what you're telling us, I'm sure you at home are really confused by that story.
that was really confusing.
Because I'm like, you were afraid over.
I'm afraid of a mounted deer on the wall talking to me, which it legit happened in my
But
head.
did the deer
Macy
talk?
used to have a mountain
Yeah,
deer.
in my head.
So your imagination scared you.
I'm the only person that can scare myself. That's what we're getting to.
Oh, I don't even know.
Whatever.
Yeah, so you're so cool. The fact you got scared over a Wii having a malfunction.
It's just a glitch.
It was a
It was
ghost.
just a glitch.
It was-
Glitch.
The
not
ghost glitched on me.
Yeah, so I think for me too, I thought of this story, and then we'll let you guys have a chance to share yours. But I remember living like, I should show you a picture. I don't even know if we have a picture, but Heather and I's first house was right across from. I'm scared right now of the story, but they were right across from where her parents lived on a farm, and it was this old farmhouse, and it was just like, I was just super old school, like when the wind blew, you would feel it in the house, and like. It was just like, had those window air conditioning units and stuff. And I lived there before Heather and I got married. And Heather's, like I said, her house was across the street and there was like a pond and stuff like that. And I remember one night I was laying there, I was like watching TV, and Heather's brother, like he's kind of like a jokester and stuff. I didn't think about it being him, but he had a laser out of his bedroom window and was like shining it. Do what?
A cat laser?
I don't know. Like, I think it was stronger than that. I think it was like a gun laser. So I don't know. It's kind of also weird to think about. He was pointing a gun over there. But he was like in my window, and I'm just sitting there watching TV, and there's this laser going across like the things, and I'm like, it's super dark outside. Like there's no street lights or anything like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, the first thing that popped in my head, I don't know why, it was like UFOs. Like, oh my gosh, UFOs are here. Like, I don't really know.
Aliens.
I don't really know, but that's what happened. And I remember being so scared, I just shut my bedroom door and just pretended like it wasn't there and I went to sleep. Obviously, I looked outside and didn't see anything. Like,
I would be so scared to look outside.
Yeah, I would just
I
stay
did
in
kind
my
of
bed.
like,
Kind of living like Jesus, low key.
how?
We'll get to it later.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? I don't understand. But anyways, it was just really weird. You had to be there. You probably had to see the house because the house also had that like super creepy basement that we never went down there. It was just like that old
It's not
school
very
house. Like,
creative.
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not going down there. I don't know. But anyways, all right. Sorry. So listen, right now, pause the video, discuss the time, answer the question. When is a time that you have been afraid? It could be a funny story. It could be a real story. It could be your imagination that scared you like Jason. Maybe you need to show him some love in the chat. But whatever it is, right now, you pause the video and you discuss it. Hey guys, we're back with you. But listen, we hope you had some really funny stories. If you had a great story, funny story, make sure you throw it in the chat. Make sure you message us. We would love to kind of like highlight that on our Insta story or something like that, just to let everyone laugh with you. Not at you. We never do that here, but we'd like to laugh with you. But listen, we're going to be in Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. The reason we're talking about fear is because this is something that we see in our text today. For instance, in verse 35, here's what it says. It says, on that day when evening had come, he told them, let's cross over to the other side of the sea. So he left the crowd and took him along since he was in the boat. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking over the boat, so the boat was already being swamped. And he was in the stern, sleeping on the cushion. So they woke him up and said to him, teacher, don't you care that we're going to die? Like, there's a lot of things going on here, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I think a fun question, we're going to have you pause again just because we want you guys to interact, is maybe answer the question this. Put yourself in the scenario, what would you be doing if you were in this boat? All right, so what would you guys be doing? They answered it at home, so what would you guys be doing? If you were in the boat right now, huge storm arises, what would you be doing?
I think I'd be freaking out. Like, I would be really influenced by the people around me. So if they were like chill, doing good, then I'd probably be like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. But if they were freaking out, like if they were saying, hey, we're gonna die, like these waves, they're crashing over us, like this is not good, then I'd be freaking out too. I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die, guys. Like this.
I'd probably like pretend to not be freaking out, but I really would be freaking out on the
Yeah.
inside. But I don't know. I sleep really good during storms, so
I feel you on that.
This is an easy answer. And, dude, Jesus is in the bottom of the boat. I'm not scared or nothing, but 100%, I'd be cuddle session with Jesus, bro. Like, I'd be snuggled up heavy with him.
I don't know how Jesus
my
feels about that.
yeah,
I'm not even
I don't
sure.
know.
But I don't know where I would be in this scenario. I mean, this is kind of a crazy scenario. Like, I feel like I would have probably already fallen out of the boat. I don't know, swim like a rock. Like, I'd be drowned already. I don't really know.
Somebody could get you a life
Chris
jacket.
Arnold couldn't even swim to save you.
Yeah, somebody. Maybe Chris will come save me. But listen, you know, one of the things I think is really easy to do in this story is to kind of look at the disciples and like, dude, you're being dramatic, right? I mean, we all talked about what we would do, but imagine in that scenario, like they're in the middle of the ocean.
We're about to die.
Like, we're about to die. There's no lighthouses. You can't see anything. It's dark. And then, like, in the story, it says that waves were coming over the boat. I don't know if y'all have ever been in a boat before. I'm sure you have. But the goal is to keep stuff from coming over the boat. You don't want stuff coming over the boat. So imagine being in that situation where stuff's coming over the boat, and the Bible says that they were swamped, right? So it's sometimes we're like, you're being dramatic, but
Get your bucket.
get your buckets, right? I mean, being in that situation, you're like, okay, this is definitely a big deal. And I think a couple other things, just kind of think. I think Bree made a great point a while ago when she said, like, a lot of times, if you think of it too, not only was it a dramatic situation, but others have an effect on you. And I never thought about that, but imagine, like, I mean, it wasn't like Jesus and one disciple, it was like all the disciples.
Yeah.
And we don't know who said all this stuff, but you imagine, like, there wasn't one of them that was calm, right? We sometimes, our fears are elevated by other people's worries. We can say it that way.
True.
Yeah. And I love in this story too because not only do you see the disciples, but you also see Jesus, right? Jesus is in the bottom of the boat. You know, Jason wants to cuddle with him, but
Cuddling.
like he's sleeping, right? Which I think shows us a pretty
Don't.
powerful thing. is that Jesus isn't like worried or afraid by the things that make us afraid.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jesus is perfectly sleeping, and I'm like Hayden too, because like I like to sleep during storms, but
On
this
a
is-
boat?
On a boat, it's different.
I don't know. Yeah, on a boat. I didn't think about that.
I just want to sleep on a boat. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like a houseboat?
You're like
Yeah.
kind of sliding
Like a
from side to
cruise.
side.
Cruise.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
cruise is a massive
Massive
boat,
boat,
so
yeah.
like
Like
sometimes it like
Titanic
rains and you're
style.
like I don't even feel it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine like what kind of storm do you think it is? When you picture a storm, what do you
Dude,
think of it?
Deadliest Catch. You ever seen that
Yeah,
show?
that's what.
I could feel
When
that.
I picture
Yeah.
these storm,
Yeah.
like in this.
Yeah, like this storm. I see
something
Deadliest
like
The
Catch.
I've never
gnarliest
seen.
wave anybody's ever caught.
Like in Teen Beach Movie?
Yeah.
How
And
she
what?
like, have you seen Teen Beach Movie?
I've never seen that.
Oh my gosh, she like goes to the 50s in some movie because
There's
of
like
some
this
wave.
huge. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like that, like or like
Yeah.
the cartoon thing.
Except
You know,
it's
like you ever
not
see the
good.
cartoon where it's like the wave and it's like way up here and everything
Yeah.
else down here. Obviously,
yeah,
it's a
in
massive
Moana.
storm. Yeah, obviously it's a massive storm. But it's really cool to think about is everyone else is freaking out. Everyone else is like worried, and even to the point where they say, "Hey, we're going to die," which they almost say that in dramatic
Do you
fashion.
care?
But it would be easy to, yeah, do you even care?
Do you even
It would
care,
be really
Jesus?
easy to think that. It'd be really easy to think that we're going to die. But Jesus isn't freaking out. He's not afraid of what you're afraid of. He's not worried about what you're worried about. And I think another thing is if you had to think about it is they start to question, does Jesus care? Why do you think they question if Jesus cares?
Because he's asleep during a storm.
Yes.
Like,
Jesus, we're about
Honestly,
to die, and
yeah.
you're like doing
He's
your
not
own
there for
thing,
them
not
when
even
The
caring.
biggest problem in
he's
their
cuddling
life is
with
happening.
Jason.
He's cuddling with Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put that on Jesus. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, it would be easy in the moment to see that Jesus doesn't care. Like, it would be easy in the moment to think that. And I think a lot of times, even relating to our life, a lot of times maybe we're going through a situation and maybe Jesus isn't showing up urgent, or maybe we're not getting the answer we want in the time that we want, or maybe it's not going the way we thought it would. And a lot of times, all of those things project this thought out that Jesus doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it may be a good question for you to answer maybe right now, discuss in your small group is, what is something that you're going through right now where you're wondering, God, do you even care? Like, think about that question, discuss it for a few minutes, and just maybe why is that? So take a few minutes to do that right now.
I feel like it has a lot to do with what's going on right now, just Corona, because starting school 6 weeks with NTI, we don't know when everything is going back to normal or anything.
We don't even know what NTI means. I mean,
Really? What does it mean?
Non-traditional instruction?
Oh.
She's
I'm
smart.
gonna go
Of course
with
you
that.
know.
even need
We're gonna
to
go with
hear.
that.
You're
I
not
don't
even
know.
doing NTI, you know.
I can't answer that one.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell us if we're wrong, don't worry.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Governor
True.
Andy will.
Yeah.
Just went political. I don't even
Yeah.
know. All right. Anyways, I do think it's a great point. Like, it would be easy right now, even in coronavirus, to look and go, God, do you even care? Because I mean,
Yeah.
we've been dealing with it. When is it going to go away? There's no cure. We don't even understand all of
Been in
it.
quarantine for like
We've been in
ever.
quarantine for a
Yeah,
long
we can be
time.
a normal life again. I just want to see all
What
my
is normal?
friends. Honestly.
What is normal gonna be?
Kind of with Jesus, I guess.
Oh my god.
With our Bibles,
Yeah.
the Holy
True.
Spirit.
True.
Yes.
So, we're trying to make the point is a lot of the times you look at the story and go, it's crazy, but this is kind of real life. Like, we are kind of living in one of those moments of the storm of we don't know. And sometimes, even in those moments, maybe you discussed this already, but sometimes in those moments we ask the question, God, do you even care? And maybe you're asking that question right now with what does your senior year look like? What is it going to look like? What is your college going to look like? What is high school going to look like? What is Corona going to look like? What is my health going to be? All those things
Yeah.
like that. It's easy to say, God, do you even care? But notice how Jesus responds. Verse 39.
He says, well, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, silence, be still. The wind ceased, and there was a great calm.
Yeah.
That is so like my favorite thing. Like I love reading like this passage and just seeing his power over creation and how he can control. Like yes,
In a
we've
snap.
seen him. Yeah, we've seen him like raise people from the dead, but like he's literally controlling the world. Like he's stopping the wind, stopping the sea. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, we say the phrase all the time that Jesus is powerful, but when you read
Yeah.
something like this, you go, "Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
another level, right?"
All I can ever picture is like with your cartoon illustration, like all the big waves, like the waves are like this and the boat's like that. The waves just stop, and the boat falls, and they just all like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I think like we should say this too, because like I don't want to go too much into this, but like it says the wind ceased. Like you may be hearing this and go, oh, okay, the wind stopped, but it was more than that. I mean, a tropical storm,
Yeah.
especially out in the middle of the ocean, would have been crazy winds,
Yeah.
but winds also affect the waves, and the waves would be going crazy. And if the wind just would have stopped, then the waves would still be going crazy for days. I mean, it would affect
Yeah.
the tide and all kinds of stuff like that. But Jesus literally just says, silence, be still, and the wind ceased, and there was a great calm, right? So it wasn't just like the wind stopped, it was like the waves and everything. Like it's unnatural. That's what we're saying. Like
Yeah.
Jesus does something completely over creation, and all creation stops and hears his voice, and it listens and obeys God, which is such a great point, Bree.
It's crazy.
And I love, too, like, a great calm. What do you think a great calm is?
Just like contentment, peace,
Right.
whatever you're going
Peace.
through. And it's crazy.
Yeah. And like Jesus only has the power and the potential to do this. Like everything
Yeah.
1 second before this is going like utter chaos,
Yeah.
and then he just speaks into it, and now there's a great calm. Like even in the worst scenarios, and even in the worst things that you face, and even in the things that we don't understand, Jesus can still speak into that. And I think it's like, the peace, like you say that. I think of the verse where Jesus says, "Your peace surpasses understanding."
Yeah.
Even when we don't think about it, and I can't explain it, and you definitely can't explain
Yeah.
with like the winds and the waves and everything just going away, Jesus still can provide peace even when it's a crazy storm.
Yeah. I like that it says great calm because I feel like even if there's not really necessarily a storm going on, like everyday life, I don't feel calm. I'm always busy. Like a great calm, I feel like it's just stillness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing going on. Never really thought about that.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, and then it's crazy because like right after this happened, like Jesus like calls out the guys and like makes them look like complete fools. Like if you read on verse 40, you can go ahead and read it.
Then he said to them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?"
Like Jesus, he
Really?
he absolutely called them out. Like he was like, why do y'all not have faith in me? Like
Kind of how we were. Like,
Right.
why are the disciples?
Yeah.
that's kind of how we are
such a-
right now. Like why don't we have faith that Jesus can get us through Corona and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like it's easy to look, and there are things like we talked about this a little bit. There are times in the Bible where you look at the disciples and like, dude, what's going on? Like sometimes we give them a hard
Yeah.
time. Like, why would you not believe that Jesus could
Standing
make the
here,
bread to
literally
feed?
standing right in front of you.
Yeah, you literally watched him do it. But I think if once again, let's don't judge from an
Yeah.
outside perspective.
If
Try
we
to
were
put
in
ourselves.
that situation,
Yes,
Yeah.
if you put yourself in their shoes, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. And it really, if we talk about this too, like this is the beginning of Jesus' ministry. Like this is the beginning of the book of Mark. Obviously Jesus has healed some people and done some stuff, but I think this is another good point. Is that a lot of times,
This is the biggest thing that he's.
yeah, a lot of times, like in life, in the real situation, in the moment, always seems greater than yesterday. Like we see Jesus do something
True.
yesterday, and we're like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then do we struggle to believe it today? And we can even say too, for the disciples, this is kind of a big moment for them because this is the first time they're actually in the moment.
Yeah.
Like they've watched Jesus heal other people, and they watched
Yeah.
Jesus do other stuff, so it'd be easy to look and go, hey, he'll do it for me. But this is the first time where their life is at stake. Like now they're
Yeah.
having to put their faith to action.
Kind of
It's
put it into
personal.
like reference, like somebody watched Michael Jordan be the GOAT back in the day, but now you're not watching him play, everybody else is the GOAT. Like
Yeah.
Jordan, Kobe, like they're the GOAT. Even though
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, everybody says he's the GOAT. So,
Yeah.
I don't even know.
The goats. They're like, why are we talking about goats?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Anyways. Yeah. So I think it's a great question, and kind of maybe this, and I think this is a struggle for us all. So I think it'd be a good time to discuss this. I think it's easy to believe many times that Jesus will work in someone else's life, but it's hard to believe that he's going to work in mine.
Yeah.
And I think that's the disciples. That's where like their faith is being like questioned here or put to test. Is they've watched Jesus move in other people's lives, but now they have to believe he can do it in theirs.
Yeah.
So I think a great question right now. Just kind of pause, talk about that as a small group. Why do you struggle to believe that God will work in others' lives, but you struggle to believe that he will work in yours? Why do you think that is? Pause the video right now, discuss that, and we'll see you here in a few. So that's a difficult question. So why is it, do you think, that a lot of times we know that God can work in others' lives, but yet we struggle to think he can work in ours?
Yeah, I feel like we really think that we can do things on our own. So we don't really need to rely on God. I mean, in reality we do, but we don't
Yeah.
want to follow His plan, I guess. We just want to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, when we see other people and all the good stuff that's coming to them, we could, like, put in our minds that, oh, they get this, they get that, they have everything.
Comparison.
They have
Yeah.
a wife, they have a good job, they have good money. Like, we see the good in that, but then, like, in ourselves, even if good things are happening to you, if you think negatively, you're only going to see the negative in your life,
Yeah.
no matter what good comes to you.
Yeah.
Social media is like big
Yeah, huge.
about that
'Cause
too,
a
because
lot of
people only
people-
put out the good things.
yeah, all you see is the good part, what they
Yeah.
want you to see.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I think you make a good point too. Not only that is the comparison game, but also perspective. It's so powerful. Like what
True.
you want to
Yes.
see, a lot of times you will see.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of
It's a
times
mind thing.
it's a mind battle, and we've talked about that before. But I think a lot of times it's easier to think negatively, like God won't do it for me, and then we get like,
Stuck in a rut, kind of.
convinced of that.
Stuck-
Yeah.
yeah.
So we see everything in that light that God doesn't love me or do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think another thing too is if we had to talk, I think it would be like, we could even say like sometimes maybe we struggle to believe this because we don't view God in the correct way. Talking about maybe perspective, even highlighting that, is we struggle to believe that God even cares about us in the first place.
True.
Like, I mean, I do that. I really struggle sometimes. Like, I read Peter where he says, hey, cast all your cares on God for he cares for you. And I'll go, oh, that's such a great verse. And he write that on, stitch that on a pillow. I don't know why I said that. I don't have any pillows to stitch. But it's just saying, I guess. Y'all would be surprised if you came to my house and there was like all these like,
Pillows all over the bed.
It's not the way it is.
They're
But-
brothers, don't worry.
Yeah. Every time I read a verse, I just stick it right there. No, but I don't know why I said that. But the truth is,
Just
like,
into embroidery.
I crochet.
Wow.
I do it. No, I'm just kidding. If you do crochet, kudos to you, man.
Yeah,
Great job.
great job.
But at the same time, my point I'm trying to make is a lot of times it's easy to read, but it's different to apply.
Yeah, and we
Like,
feel like insignificant compared to like the people who are in these stories or the things that we see on social media, and we think like God is. I mean, one, He's like busy doing stuff for other people, but also why would He help me
Like-
if all these people have all this going on?
Too busy cuddling me. But
Oh my God.
all right, I'm gonna go back into the text, and we're gonna finish this off. But it says in verse 41, and they, talking about the guys on top of the boat, and they were terrified and asked one another, "Who then is this?" Talking about Jesus. They say, "Who then is this? Even the wind and the sea obey him."
Yeah.
So crazy.
this is another like monumental moment, I guess we had to say. Like, Jesus has shown His power. Jesus has shown His power over creation. We talked about all that. But once again, think about the disciples. Like, this is a moment for them, and it's kind of crazy. It says they were terrified, and they asked one another, "Who then is it?" Right? I mean, they've agreed to follow Jesus. They've seen Jesus do some miracles, but Jesus just showed His power in a lot of ways that we don't really grasp and don't understand. But this is like a huge thing. Imagine being on the boat where you think you're literally gonna die, and like, deadliest catch, all these things that we're talking about, this massive
Just
storm,
stops
like.
it it's nothing.
Yeah, like it thunders at my house really loud, and I'm like, I mean, so imagine like this massive storm. You know you're done. You're like, I'm gone. I'm a goner. Like Jesus is asleep. I'm a goner. And then He comes up and He just completely steals everything, and that would terrify you.
It's
Like,
crazy.
I mean, they're terrified because, and even I love this. It says even the wind and the sea obey Him. They're kind of like, who
It's like
is this guy?
you're in awe and scared at the same time. Like,
They're probably scared of Jesus at the time.
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
It's not like a scared like chainsaw murder or like It or whatever scary movie like that. Like, it's a terrified like, this guy holds this much power. Like,
Yeah.
it's an awe. I love how you said that. Like, it's really
Yeah.
good. And I think that's easy for us to look, but maybe a lot of times I think for the disciples, like, we could say this: they're terrified because they don't understand it. And I think a lot of times that maybe the things that we fear, if we're honest, or maybe we refuse to deal with, are the things that we don't understand. And I would even take to add too is not only are they terrified because they don't understand it, they're also terrified because they can't control it.
Yeah.
Because in our world, we want to explain everything and we want to
wanna
control it. Right?
everything.
Totally. We definitely want to do that. So I think the disciples here are terrified because they're in awe, like, who is this guy with this much power? That is, Bree talked about earlier, that even the creation, hears His voice and obeys Him. And at the same time, so there's looking going, hey, I don't understand this guy. I agreed to follow
This
him
guy's
because
crazy.
he's a good he's a good teacher, and like I've seen him, heal some people. That's awesome. But dude, he just did something like that I never in my life thought was possible. And that's the cool thing about Jesus is even if you can't dream it, and even if you don't think it's possible, Jesus can still do it. And I think the disciples are in that moment right here, going, "Wow, I never thought this would happen." So, a couple things just to kind of point out, to kind of highlight this whole thing. We're going to close out and we'll let you guys answer your small group questions. Is points to make is this: is Jesus is always in control, right? Jesus is always in control, whatever situation.
So simple, but like so
Yeah.
hard.
Even in the most craziest moments, when you don't understand it, when it seems like you're gone, you're done for, you still have to know that Jesus is in control.
I feel like knowing that he's in control over everything, it just brings you
that
an
peace.
unexplainable peace, and just you can
Yeah.
have peace through anything.
Yeah.
Because of the power that he has.
Yeah, for sure. And I think maybe a question, and we didn't even talk about this, but I think it's knowing that Jesus is always in control. And when you know that Jesus is always in control, then you can have peace in any situation. That's easy to say. But I think it's all coming back from the disciples too is, are you going to focus on the storm? Are you going to focus on what everybody else is saying about you're almost going to die? Are you going to focus on what Jesus is and how Jesus is in control of every situation? Even if you don't understand it right now, even if you're in the middle of a storm, even if you have tons of questions you're asking, and all the odds are against you, are you going to focus on Jesus is and Jesus' voice and knowing that he's in control? And when we focus on
It's
that,
so hard.
it is hard, then we can have the peace. But a lot of times I think we focus on the storm, we focus on the water in the boat, we focus on other people instead of focusing on who Jesus is. So listen, we've had a lot of fun just being able to talk through this story with you guys. We look forward to this series over the next couple of weeks called Storyteller, where we're just going to talk about the gospel. We want it to be really real, and we want you to be able to talk about what impacts your life. And right now, you're going to go to small groups. Thank you guys for showing up, helping me out today, and we love you guys. Answer these small group questions. Head to your small group time right now. I hope you're having a great time, and we look forward to seeing you soon, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Love you.